Welcome to, hello everyone, welcome to Advanced Training and Exercise Prescription Semester 2, 2016 ACPE. I'm Trevor Higgins and I'm your lecturer in charge for this subject. This is just a brief introduction into the unit, what's expected of you and of the assessments and that sort of thing. I know a number of you online have me for athletic development as well. So there's going to be a lot of stuff that's repeated in this introduction. But for those that aren't doing athletic development, I'll set this up for you. So yeah, just simply, it's a nice little subject that goes for the best part of 12, 13 weeks. Well, 12 a semester, we have a study break and all the rest. The best thing about this subject is we don't have an exam. Just briefly about myself, okay, I have a PhD in exercise science, evaluating recovery in team sport. Basically, I threw people in ice baths and said, well, do you feel better now? You do, but physically you're not any better. That's just narrowing 70,000 words down into one sentence for you. I've got an extensive background in strength and conditioning from a couple of different sports, predominantly rugby union, up to and including a brief sojourn up into the Waratahs. So we're going to look at this, and we are looking at it from an S&C role, although it is something as a coach, it's good to have an understanding. So you can then tell your S&C that you know more than him. Not that I'm bitter with coaches, but anyhow. Okay, so we're going to go on again. Remember, again, I'm quite funny. I'm extremely hilarious, so please laugh with my jokes as you please. Otherwise, you'll fall asleep during these webinars. We're only brief, and this is, you can access the full PowerPoints on Study Smart as well for each of the week's lectures. And this is just going to be a brief review over the main points that you need to do. Once again, I'm going to try the screen share thing. And it's not happening there. Okay, I need to go into here. Let's see if I can get this happening again. Just bear with me. There we go. Here we go. Now I'm going to share the screen with you, and this is our Study Smart page. As you can see, just along here, this is what you'll see after today's. That has to be hidden. I hope you can't see that. This is my page, so it'll probably look slightly different. There'll be things that you'll be able to see when you see mine that you will not see on students. In fact, I'll just go in and change my role. So hopefully that will indicate to you. Yes, so there we go. So technology. I'm a whiz at this technology stuff. So here's what we have and the basic a look of it. Okay, so there's a copy of the lecture. The lecture notes, that's just a PDF PowerPoint sheet. Models of periodization, this is additional reading and some, again, just some additional work, just to help you out, some study aids. Visual coach, if you've done strength and conditioning, you should have access to visual coach. You will have to let me know if you do or do not have, if you do not have access. You will need that for your first major assessment. Sorry, not your first major assessment, for your overall project that we're looking to develop, which is creating an annual training plan for a specific athlete. Okay, we're going to have a series of lectures and the like throughout this subject. Okay, let's see if I can get this happening now, because every time I try to do this, it doesn't work. So we'll call up the PowerPoint. Hopefully we will be able to get you to see these PowerPoints. So I'll try another screen share. That one should be it. We're still broadcasting, so I'm not sure if you can actually see anything here. There we go, yes. Okay, we're now on the board. Okay, so introduction. Okay, again, disregard most of this. This is what our face-to-face students have to do. They've got 12 one-hour weeklies, 2-hour tutorials, and you have 4 assessment tasks. Now, the main thing you need to understand is even though you're doing this online, if you wish, you need to be able to you need to be able to put aside 3 hours work of this at least. Now there's 4 assessment tasks. Now if you want to pass the subject, you just need to get 50% in total across the 4 tasks. Okay, so just remember that. That's our main goal that we're, here are my, hopefully this is also working. Yes, here are my contact details. If you do need to contact me, call, email me. If you do call and you don't get me because I'm out at a lecture, just leave a message on voicemail and the best number to contact you back on, and a time, especially if you're in training or working. And you've got to try to organise it around that so I can get back to you. If you're out in New South Wales, again, you'll need an area code 02. Okay, we'll get into our assessment tasks. And first one is a lit review. Now, it's my favourite things is a lit review, and I need you to understand that. I'm not doing it because I like reading. I'm doing it because you need to understand the science. So task 1 is a lit review. It's 2,000 words. Okay, it's week 3. It'll be due week 3 Sunday via Turnitin at 11:59 p.m. Not sure of the exact date offhand, but it's in the unit outline. And it's worth 40% of your overall mark. Now, the thing you need to understand with this lit review is it is the basis of your entire project of this semester. We've got 3 other assessment tasks, but all the work that you do in task 1 will set up task 2, 3, and 4. Simple as that, guys. You need to understand that. Do a really good job. Before we finish this, I'll go back and I'll show you a couple of videos that I've got on there to help you with your writing. Now, task 2 is basically a needs analysis and test battery. Just quickly on the lit review, what you're going to be looking at is you pick a sport that you want. As long as it is a real sport. I'm not interested in bodybuilding. Weight loss. Think of this as high-level athletic development. A professional athlete. I know bodybuilders are professional. I just don't care. And I'll be honest, that's brutal. What you need to understand is pick an athlete or a sport that you like, and you're going to design a training plan for one of those athletes. It's a mythical athlete. It doesn't exist. It can be someone. It can be it can be Usain Bolt for all I care. And you're going to design your program across 12 months for that athlete. So from the lit review, you'll get the information, the type of requirements that you need, their training, their blocks, their competitions and that. Now, you'll also come across in your lit review is the types of characteristics that top-level athletes should have, whether it be power to weight ratio, speed, strength, agility, those sorts of components. And so this is pretty much what you're going to identify in task 2, your needs analysis and test battery. So you're going to sit there and identify the most common characteristics of high performance athletes for your chosen athlete in your chosen sport. And then what you're going to do is you're going to also identify what would be the test battery to test for those factors. So if it's speed, is it a 5, 10, 20 meter, or is it a 40 meter test? Is it a counter movement jump? Is it strength? Is it 1 RM, 3 RM? Is it endurance? Is it a yo-yo test? Is it a 5K test? Whatever it is. And in your lit review, when you're doing these articles, you should be able to find what they're testing. So you don't have to make up a test. You just go, thing it. And it always has to be peer reviewed. So you go, our testing will be a counter movement jump, as Smith, Jones and Bailey have identified. The counter movement jump is the most one factor that is high correlation to acceleration. Bingo, there you go. That's your first one, counter movement jump. Speed, as they're a sprinter, we'll be testing 40 meter time length over 10 and 40 meters, 10 meters for acceleration, 40 meters for maximal speed, as they are high indicators of people who win the 100 meters. So that's what you're going to need to do. That's worth 15%. That's due week 5. So you can see the information from your lit review will come up with your the answers and your requirements for task 2. Now we go down and you've got task 3 and task 4. Task 3 is going to be on visual coach. This is when you enter and design your annual training plan. It is for 12 months, plain and simple. A 12-month training plan due week, and it's worth 15%. That's done by a visual coach, and that's where you're going to put in the blocks. When you're going to test your athletes, I believe you only have a short 500-word justification. So it'll be, say, if you're doing a rugby league, It'll be based, testing dates will be done here and here at the start and end of our off-season training, here at the specific phase, here in the thingos, and here by a competition. Important tasks are week 1 of competition, week 1 of finals, week 1 you put down, say they're playing top 2 teams, high bottom 2 teams, and you're identifying those sorts of things. That's what you need with your volume and your intensity. Then task 4 is your other big assignment and assessment. And this is the development of a training phase. So as you know, in an annual training plan, you will have a number of macro cycles or mesocycles, depending on which book you read. Basically, you might have general prep, specific prep, pre-comp, comp, transition. What you are going to do is you are going to design a training program for one of those phases. And you're going to have to identify the purpose of that training phase based on your lit review, based on your needs analysis. So it might be a 6-week, might be a 12-week, it might only be a 3-week cycle that you're training, but you only have to deliver a training plan for 1 week in that cycle. Identify whether it's week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, week 5, whichever week it is of that training program. Then what you'll have to do is write out the program. Now, what you have to understand, you are to include everything in this 1 week program. What time they get up, how many training sessions they do. Is it a gym session? Is it a conditioning session? Is it a skills session? The next day, is it a recovery session? What you do for recovery, when you do it, when they're eating, when they're sleeping, when they're hydrating, and how you're going to monitor these training loads. So it's worth 30%. I just don't want to see a program that's got, Monday is International Chest Day, so they're doing bench press. It has to link back, and you have to support it with evidence, basically from your lit review. So again, we always get back to your lit review. The better you do your lit review, the more information you come to designing this. We're building on this from what you learned in strength and conditioning, what you learned in athletic development, and those things, and you need to understand these components. Now, so there are your 4 assessment tasks. That's due week 12. As you see, there's no there's no real issue here with any of them as such. Now with the subject, okay, I'll go out of here. There are your 4 assessment tasks that you need. So you accumulate 50% across those marks, across those 4 assessment tasks, and that should leave you sitting pretty sweet and in reasonably good position. Okay, I'm just going to go back through into Study Smart. I just want to show you these. Again, you would have seen these in LTAD in the intro there. So I'll just share this screen with you at the stage just to show these. How are you getting that? Okay. All right, so here's our assessment cover sheet, of course, your review. This is what your actual task outline is. And you submit it via Turnitin. Assessment task 2, the needs analysis, that's the breakdown of the description. And again, submit that via Turnitin. Your annual plan at this stage, you're just uploading it in the folder. I will confirm, but probably you'll be able to do that via Visual Coach anyway. And your training session, again, assessment task 4, training plan, again, submitted via Turnitin. Okay, guys? So Turnitin, yes, we're going to grill it, we're going to do it. I don't expect too much issues. Assessment task 2 and 3, if you notice, is either pass or fail subject, pass or fail. It's only worth 15%. So if you do a pretty good job, you'll look around getting 13. If you do an okay job, you'll look probably getting around 8s or 9s. If you a fail score would be, say, 6 or 7, and no handed in, and well, no handed in's a 0. Okay, so that's that component. So it's under the assessment criteria that you would have seen. On Study Smart. Now, the next component I want to go into, and again, this is something that you would have seen for those who have looked at the LTAD. Okay, so we're sitting here again. I'm just going to share you this, the other page under Getting Started. So again, subject outline, your readings, and here, this one is synthesizing your writing, contrasting articles, and framing your opinion. The 3 webinars have been put together by Student Learning Services, formerly Academic Development Office. There's brief webinars which will outline or show you, guide you through how to write your lit review. I'm going to be a real hard ass when it comes to these lit reviews. You must synthesize your writing and contrasting articles as well. Synthesizing your writing is when you're talking about one point. Say we'll use a counter movement jump, and we'll say Smith-Jones identified that there's a strong correlation between performance in a counter movement jump and speed across 40 meters. Now, if you were to then write another paragraph and go, Jones and Jones identified that with acceleration that there's a strong correlation with the counter movement jump performance. Those with high counter movement jump performances generally have greater acceleration. Now, if you were to do that 2 separate paragraphs, you haven't synthesized the writing. How you would actually synthesize it, it's been identified that the counter movement jump has been associated with acceleration and speed over the first 40 meters. And then you would put it in brackets and it would be Smith and Smith 2009, Jones and Jones 2010. So we're not doubling up on the information. If you've got 2 papers writing and discussing the same thing with the same conclusion, you synthesize their conclusions. If there's a little bit of difference, you may then go, however, Smith and Smith found that it was only effective or in identifying acceleration as opposed to Jones and Jones, who identified it 40 meters. So you may then synthesize it by saying what they have in common, then how they go about and or how they're different. Now, contrasting articles, this webinar we'll talk about, because there's so much evidence out there, and it's good to have articles that conflict with each other. So you're looking at both sides of the question. So you go, Smith and Smith found that the counter movement jump correlated highly with. However, Benson and Benson identified that the greatest attribute to acceleration was a broad jump. Now, I don't know, I just made that up, okay? So you sit there, so they've identified counter movement jump, they've identified this, and you've got to talk about the conflicting between them. However, they both relate power. They're talking about one's vertical velocity, one's horizontal power as opposed to vertical power, and perhaps the difference is there. Okay, so that's what it is. Now, at the end, quite often you're told we don't care for your opinion, and that's true. We don't really care for your opinion, but you have to come up with a surmise or a conclusion. So we're looking at framing your opinion. So in other words, what you're doing is the counter movement jump will be used as a measure of athletic performance for this athlete, as Smith and Jones identified the high correlation. However, although there is some dispute with that, the overwhelming evidence by Smith and Jones supports its use. So in other words, you're using the evidence that you found to support why you're doing it. And that's what we mean by framing your opinion. All right, guys. Now, everything else is I will try to contact you each over, I'm not going to do it weekly, but I will endeavour to do it every couple of weeks just to see how you guys are going. So have a look at this. Feel free to email me, phone if you have any questions or any issues, and I'll be more than happy to sit down and discuss. All right, guys, we'll see you off in cyberspace. The next webinar that will be up online will actually just deal with week 1's lecture. All right, until then, be good, be safe, and feel free to contact me at any time, guys. All right, bye for now.